What is up, everybody? All right. No, Kenneth, you did not miss it. We were just now getting started. Now, it is going to be. I'm very used to speaking to a phone that's just pointed at me and then editing later. So, this whole live thing is going to be new for me. I know I did one live where I announced our movie for, I do believe, September by myself, and it was like 15 minutes. Without my co-host Josh here, I will probably, I don't know. We'll see how long it runs. It could be 20 minutes to 30 minutes. But what's going on, Eric? How's things going? We're here to talk about the 2005 cinematic classic Feast. So we will wait, see if a few more people come in. Uh, if not, we will continue on. Um, and please remember, I am streaming to 3 different locations. We got Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. So there is about a 10 to 15 second delay on the comments. So if you comment something and it takes me a second to get to it, then that's why. I will get to it as it comes. Or if I'm like, that's a shit question, I'm just not going to answer or talk about it. I mean, there's that too. But or I might just overlook it. I don't know. But did the people that are currently viewing, which is 5, watch the movie Feast? Just curious about that. So Feast was one of the few films that was yeah, Eric, um I actually watched all 3 last night. Like, I've seen the first one multiple times. I've seen all 3 a few different times. It had been a while since I seen 2 or 3, but I was like, well, I'm rewatching this because I watched it a couple weeks ago with Chesley, which she hated it. She just said it was dumb. The characters were dumb. Everything was dumb. She just didn't enjoy herself watching it. Because after it lost the initial vote and stuff, I was like, well, usually if I put a movie out and it loses the vote, I will go back and show her at any time, during our time together. I'm like, well, I don't have to watch this at a specific time like I do one of the movies that we lost that that won the vote. So let's go and watch it. And she didn't like it, and I figure Josh probably wouldn't have liked it either. Uh, it wasn't a good reason it lost, Josh. Uh, but they're all 3 on Tubi, so I'd say we make Josh watch them because it'd take about 4 hours because they're about an hour and like 15 minutes each, something like that. Uh, but yes, they are all 3 on Tubi. We're talking about the first one. We can talk about all 3. I don't care. So Feast won one of the seasons of Project Greenlight. Now, Project Greenlight was a program that was put together by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Basically, these up and coming, indie filmmakers would bring out like a script, and sometimes they would like choose a script from one person and then a different director, and like you would have maybe more than one winner in a season because it'd be one person that wrote the film, one person that's going to direct it. And the first 2 seasons of Project Greenlight was on HBO, then moved to Bravo, and I'm not sure where it's at now. I think it's like they jumped back to Max. But movies brought out was Stolen Summer and Shaker Heights. Those were the first 2, and then the winner of the third Project Greenlight was Feast. And then The Leisure Class, which was a god awful comedy. I've read reviews on it, and they said that it was just a horrific comedy. And then the latest one that came out was like a sci-fi thriller, which went to Netflix, which was Gray Matter, because all four of these that I mentioned, five, sorry, um, Feast has been the most successful of all the movies that came out of Project Greenlight. It just was just, I guess, better than the other ones. I have never seen the other ones because the first two are very indie romance, like coming to age type of like bio true story pick type things, and then he got Feast. So uh yeah, the guy that played the prophet, and he is in two just on the TV screen, but then he's in three. But that is a comedian. I think he has like cerebral palsy, or I don't know what he has. I could be wrong. Like, I am probably wrong about the cerebral palsy thing, but yeah, he's a comedian. Uh and I might freeze for a minute so I could read, because But my current background is like a blue bubble, and but the upcoming background like I had was what I use as my business card is Desiree did that for me. It's the VHS, and then it has the four horse on it. I would love to go like Josh here and kind of get some new branding. I'd still love to keep the VHS, the four horse, but I need like a background when I do any kind of solo stuff. I need you know just a few new things to kind of freshen it up. But uh, like I said, I'd like to stay with the VHS motif. Yeah, Kenneth, I did enjoy the Feast. I mean the intros to Feast, because they're like character cards, so that's very cool. So we did we talked about the Project Greenlight stuff. It was one of the winners. So we start the movie out. Uh, One of the first people we were introduced to, which is his car pulling in. We see a car accident, car pulling in. It's Bozo, which is played by Balthazar Giddy. Uh, I didn't look to see what else is in. His face seems familiar. Uh, but the character cards are really cool because each character card, whenever it goes in, it gives you basically a nickname. It's not going to tell you, what their actual name is or anything like that. It just gives you a nickname. It gives you like, some of them will have like a fun fact. Some will have job, occupation, like likeliness to survive, or how long they're going to live and stuff. One unique thing they did do, and this only works for the first one, because I don't think they were planning on making sequels, was that when they introduced the bartender, is played by character actor Clue. I cannot pronounce the last name. Galgir. It's the director's dad. It actually says, like, likely to survive, like, dead in 70 minutes. Well, if you go from 70 minutes from the time he is introduced in the movie, he actually, well, we're going to tell you spoilers. He actually has a heart attack and kills over at the 70-minute mark. But if you watched any of the sequels, that's not true. Again, spoilers, but if you see any kind of the sequels, he is actually one of the very last person that is in any of the movies. Also, the director's wife, the one that plays um, Harley Mom, and then Harley Queen in 2 and 3, which are supposed to be twin sisters, is the director's wife. There's three very notable faces that you can tell right off without looking it up, and that is Henry Rollins from the Henry Rollins Band. He plays Coach, a motivational speaker. You have Jason Mewes, who in any kind of the IMBD things or anything like that says his character name was Edgy Cat or Edge Cat. But whenever he's introduced in his cards, it actually says Jason Mewes is his, the character name, and then his occupation is actor. I mean, so I don't know why they decided to change any of that stuff around. But for the ladies out there, the hero, that's how he is labeled as his nickname, is Eric Dane, and then that is, I think, one of the McDreamies or whatever from Grey's Anatomy. I'm not sure if he was on the show when this movie was shot and came out, because they were both in 2005. I do believe Grey's Anatomy started, or his stint on Grey's Anatomy started in 2005, and this movie came out in 2005. So it had to be close to the same time they were on there. Yeah, Eric, the Harley, the one that gets her leg cut off, and then they blow her up, and then later on in the 2 and 3, the one that plays the Queen, that's actually the director's wife. And as far as I know, well, through my research, they are still married. So, but we're introduced to a few Judah Friedlander. He was in a bunch of different stuff. He was the guy that always had like a trucker hat and long hair, and he just didn't look healthy. But he plays a beer guy. Like I said, you had Henry Rollins, you had Jason Mewes, you had Eric Dane. Navi Rot played Heroin. But one thing that kicks off this movie, other than the character cards, is the introduction to the hero. So you got a few things going on in this. It all takes place in a bar, like a just your roadside type of tavern, just almost in the middle of nowhere, and like a canyon. So you got this little intro going on when you meet all the your regular characters, and then you have this guy bust in, toting a shotgun. So the action's ready to kick off. Everybody's kind of freaking out, and he's like, "Listen, the only way you guys are going to survive if you listen to me and you do what I say." And by that time, he's standing by a window when he's talking this stuff. And what caught my eye when I originally watched it back in like 2007 or something like that was that, again, spoilers, he dies right off the rip. Like, he's saying, "Listen, you're going to get through this, but we have to work together. You're going to listen to me." And then dude is fucking dead right off. So then, I mean, chaos ensues as soon as he dies. And then just a few minutes later, this other one kicks in. And then, she's labeled Heroin, is basically his wife. They got into a car wreck. They hit this animal on the road. They killed it, but there was like 4 more or whatever. And they're getting chased. So they start locking down and batting down the hatches and everything at this bar. Yeah, Eric. He got him and Honey Pie got like the nastiest slimes through the movie. Honey Pie got it through all 3 movies. So I'll go ahead and do the kill count on these. Almost everybody dies. If you look up the kill count, it's going to tell you about 9, but it is 10 because they after the whole film rolls, there is a as soon as it wraps, people get away. You met this grandma that kind of doesn't do nothing the whole movie. The sets at the bar. I like her fun fact. Whenever they're introducing her, it says, Blue Mick Jagger. And then out from it says recently. So they're all old. I wrote down okay. So talked about it being produced by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck's Project Greenlight. They were actually going to play Bozo and Hot Wheels. Like they were gonna, those are the two roles that they were gonna take over. But they, I guess they decided not to and handed it off to somebody else. The hero role, when that was introduced, was actually offered to Mark Wahlberg, because I'm pretty sure he helped, or he was in one of the first two Project Greenlight movies that they did. Josh Duhelm or Dunhelm, he was in the Transformer movies. He was the army guy in the Transformers movies. He he accepted the role, but whenever they were going to slate the film, he actually had already signed up to do another film. So there's the conflict of interest, so he had to go do that. So that's when we got Eric. Like I said, we'll work out the kinks with this. I'm doing a lot of this stuff based off what I remember, and then I have some notes here. Usually, whenever I'm working with Josh, my co-host, he fills in some of the blocks while I read to make sure my notes are right. Yes, Kenneth. Now, so how I'm sharing these, some people are on YouTube, some people are on Facebook, some people are on Twitch, but Kenneth said, doesn't Grandma's card say most likely already dead? And it does say that. This one, I think Bozo's card has Dead by Dawn on it. There's just some fun, like that. Like it's just fun to watch some of the character cards and how they're introduced. Now they did plan, because how it's all in one location. They managed to have a pretty good budget with that. They did want more action, some more stuff to happen, but it was not budget friendly, and they ran out. So we got what we got. And funny thing is, talking about like budget and stuff like that, there is two versions. There is a unrated version, and then there's a rated R version. The unrated came out, I think, the same time the rated did, and you can watch both. The rated R is actually longer than the unrated version. The unrated version has a lot more gore. Some stuff they filmed, they had to cut a lot of the gore out to get a rated R, so it was passable, or if they were going to get stuck with like a NC-17 or something like that. So they did decide to do a unrated version, and the unrated version is shorter, but with a lot more gore. The rated R has less gore, but I think I don't know how much more of a movie. Usually it's the other way around. Usually if you get an unrated, usually, like I said, usually if there's an unrated, you get a little bit more movie because it's stuff they cut. But it's the other way around here. Yes, Johnny Horror, they did make a Feast 2. You may have just swung in. We talked about Feast 2 and 3. There is Feast 2, Sloppy Seconds, and then Feast 3, which is Happy Ending. And you can check them all three out on Tubi for free if you want to. And hey, it's no problem, Johnny Horror. Hey, just swing in when you can. There is one thing I really enjoyed was the fact that they did not. We saw a kid. So one of the characters introduced is Tuffy. She's a bartender. You can tell that she's just down on her luck. She's doing things by herself, single mom. Girl power. But the boss man, which is the owner of the bar, kind of takes advantage of that. Calls her upstairs. Is gonna do a meeting, if you know what I'm saying. She has her son up there and says, "Hey, put on these earphones. Mom's got a meeting to go do," and he's he's hitting it from behind, and I think one of the funniest to me lines that he says is "Damn baby, uh, act like you feel it." Whenever he's giving it to her, that was one of the funniest parts. But I do appreciate in this movie that no one's safe, as in women, men, women, animals, and children. Uh, the kid, Tuffy's kid, is one of the first kills of the movie. Is him just getting wiped out. And all three movies, I'm sitting thinking, never kind of reveal what these things are. They got their guesses, like, is it a toxic waste? This is it that. Um, it takes most of the movie before you actually see the full practical effects monster that is in Feast. They're covered by like uh, dead animal pelts and stuff like that. So you see like there's parents and there's children, and they don't care about each other. Their way of reproducing is they hump quick and they just ploop out some kids. Um, and this movie is very I don't know. Like I said, I don't think Josh would like it because of the grossness of it. These things, genitalia is just hanging out. At one point, they go upstairs to try to get a radio call out because they're in a canyon. Cell phones don't work. The phone inside was shot off the wall, so they're gonna get this radio and radio out. Uh, one of the monsters, is chasing Bozo to the door. He gets through, but his unit, the monster's unit, is caught in the door, and whenever they slam the door, it just rips it right off. So they neutered him, is what they said. But just a second, I said I really enjoyed the fact that there was no like let's hinder to the kid, because I feel like in a lot of horror movies, kids mess a lot of things up. Like they just slow it down and just oh yeah, uh, Johnny horror. Johnny said if Stephen King wrote it, Josh would watch it. He'd read the book. He'd be a big fan. No, Josh has told me a few things that he's like, Stephen King is his favorite, but there's a few books he's done that's like, he's not a big fan on, but because Josh didn't like Dead Alive, and I feel that Dead Alive is pretty close to this, like just with the gratuity of gore and just being gross, because this is gross. There's humping, there's foul language, there's blood. I figure most of their budget went to viscera and whatnot. So, um, they hatch a few different plans to try to get out of these things. So the barricade in the bar. Uh, yeah, Johnny Chesley watched it, and she was not a fan. She immediately looked to me and said it wasn't a good movie. She just didn't like it. She said the acting was bad. It just a lot of things were bad. I'm like, I'm not going to disagree with her. The acting is not 100%. You can tell it was one of the first acting roles Henry Rollins did, and I think Jason Mewes just shows up and is Jason Mewes, but he's not in it too long. One funny thing though is if you ever want to see Henry Rollins in that like those fuzzy track pants that say like juicy across the ass, this is the movie for you because you're gonna see it. And I'm very aware I'm everywhere, but we're just discussing. Like, I don't want to do like a whole movie breakdown. I like it when people come in and talk and ask questions and all that. So yeah, it's a campy gore fun fest, Eric. I mean, I feel like one had a structure. Like it was this group of people's in a bar. These things attack. They have to survive. And that's it. That's your basis. Like, here's your structure. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go at it. 2 and 3 was off the fucking rails. It was insane. Like, just some of the weird stuff they tried, like the 2 midget luchadors. Um, and I mean, it was weird how they were like, "Listen, we're gonna bring because the same director directed 1, 2, and 3. So, and the way 2 and 3 is, it looks like they just filmed it straight through and split it down the middle. They filmed a 3-hour movie and knew they were going to use all of it and found a stopping point and then put a stopper in it. Um, and it turns out one of the um, luchadors that was in the movie, the little people luchadors, we were actually, me and Josh were actually beside when we were at um, Chiller Theater. Johnny, uh, the little fella, but that was like right beside Lynn. It was like him, Lynn, me and Alan, and then Josh and Matthew, and he was in Feast 2 and 3. And it had been so long since I had watched it, I totally forgot. Or I would have made a point to go over to him like, "Hey man, I need a Feast 2 and 3, like something signed." You were great. Uh, uh, 2 and 3 cameos, no. No one that was big at that time. Like I said, the guy that plays the prophet in 3, he's a pretty funny comedian. But nobody real big. The guy that plays Slasher, the used car salesman, he's in 2 and 3. He is in Martin. He's one of Martin's friends. He's the one that's shorter than Martin. Martin Lawrence's old TV show. And he had a really bad fate too. He got it jammed in the rear and got impregnated by one of them and had the like mutated hybrid human beast monster. Uh, it's I don't know. If you were looking for a gross joyride of a movie that's just doesn't you don't have to think about it. It doesn't make any sense, and you're gonna be confused because some things just don't make sense. Like I said, it's just a fun movie and doesn't take much of your time. Uh, watch Feast, and if you have all night, watch Feast 2 and 3. I've had a bad habit here lately of like sitting out and let's watching a whole series of something. Um, like I watched Death Race. I kept asking Chess, "Have you ever seen Death Race?" Her stepdad is very into action movies, so has seen Transporter and um, The Expendables and some of these action movies. So I was asking her if she's seen Death Race, and she said, "I don't know, I can't remember." So I just started watching it one day while she was in the shower. She got out. I was like, "Well, have you seen it?" She's like, "I don't think so." I was like, "Well, I wish you were in here when I started it." Because I tried to explain it to her, and she's like, "Well, it sounds familiar." I'm like, "If you had seen Death Race, you would know Death Race." But I decided to watch all the Death Races, and it was a horrible mistake because what sucks is on Stars they had Death Race 2 and 3, I do believe, but they didn't have 1. And then when it switched over to January 1, I think it was like January like 14th or uh, something like that. They switched over and they put the first Death Race on there, but they took off 2 and 3. I don't know why streaming services do that. It pisses me off so bad. They will have the sequels on there and not the first one, so you got to try to find the first one and most likely have to pay for it, or they'll have the first one and none of the sequels. So I was like, fuck it, we're gonna watch all the sequels. So I watched all the Death Race stuff. I watched 1, which I enjoy. Just a fun. I don't know if I would call it horror. I mean, it kind of dips its toe in the genre, but it's mainly action. And then I watched 2, 3, and then I watched 4. 4 is a newer one that came out in 2018. It is a bad fucking movie. I would watch all three feasts 2 or 3 times before I would watch um fucking Death Race 4. I think it's like Anarchy or I don't know. It's fucking it leaves the course of what the Death Races were and stuff. It's just not good. And yeah, Kenneth, the first feast is definitely better than the third one. The third one is, I don't know, I just didn't like it as well as 1 and 2 of the feast series. 3 is throwing shit to the wall. Like some of the very last lines that Clue, the bartender, has, which is the director's dad. He's like, "We got to repopulate the earth." He's like, "So let's get the fucking," and he starts taking his clothes off, and then the little fella and woman get stepped on by a giant mech robot. Like, where the fuck did that even come from? Like, how do you end this? And then it just ends with the old man just walking in the desert. I mean, it is the title should not have been the title. It says happy ending or something like that. I think it's what it is. But it's just not a good ending. I mean, some movies have a good ending, some of them don't, and that's one of them. Happy finish, the happy finish, not happy ending. I was thinking something else. The happy finish, but it's bad. It's just not a good, yeah. But like I said, 9 kills because Granny. I counted 10 because I forgot. No, I counted. It's 10 kills. I counted 11 because I forgot that. The bartender lives through the other ones. The people that survive in the first one, because like I said, I didn't think they thought they would get a sequel. They just said, "Hey, we're going to end it here." We had Bozo lived, Tuffy lived, and his brother and Bozo's brother's Hot Wheels lived. Rotten Tomato score, which is not horrible. It's not a horrible score. Was the tomato meter was 55%, and the audience score was 60. So I think we've had lower on the on movies in mayhem before. So does anybody have anything else they wanted to talk about, or we'll discuss real quick? Because I think 3-4 minutes is good. We talked about some feast. All in all, you have to be. It's a good background. Like, say you're putting together Legos, or you're cooking, or you're getting something together, like you're putting a cabinet together in the living room. It's a fun movie to put on because there's stuff. There's stuff always going on. It has some action parts, plenty of, like I said, gore effects. I'm pretty sure all of it was practical. Puppets, costumes. What is my rating? I would give it a 2.8 to 3 stars, or bloody VHS tapes is how I would say it. So it falls right there to where you have to be a fan of that genre. You have to be a fan of the slapstick B, C grade horror movie that has a lot of gore in it. Like you had, your Evil Dead 2, your Dead Alive, your stuff like that. That is just over the top gore, grime, gross slime. If you like those movies, you're going to like Feast. Because you're okay with a little bit of crappy acting, a little bit of just dialogue that doesn't really fit or doesn't go good. Yes, Eric, it's out of 5. Sorry, I didn't like 1 to 5 scale it. I'm just used to doing it whenever I do the my thoughts videos whenever I see new movies. But it is like a 2.83 bloody VHS tapes out of 5, I would say. I need a good graphic that pops up whenever I do it. Like I said, I'm not good at computer stuff. I'm not really good at this. I'm not gonna lie. I just like to discuss movies. But any suggestions on like another movie to discuss? I mean, I'll do this again. If you guys would like, I know Johnny was pushing me and Josh was pushing me to do it. Uh, in my opinion, probably not the greatest of lives, but I appreciate people sticking around and watching. Eric, Johnny, Kenneth. I do have a VHS. Kenneth asked if I had a hard copy. I have a VHS, not a VHS. I have a DVD of all three. Like it came in like a pack. It was like the Feast. Fuck, what's it? I have it boxed up where I would read it. Um, there is a Blu-ray of the first Feast, but not 2 and 3. I would like to get a hold of the Blu-ray of Feast, but I do have it on regular DVD, so I do have a hard copy. Yeah, I seen Psycho Gorman. It's along those lines. Like it's just campy, campy stuff like that. I like Psycho Gorman, which some people didn't, because it is a horror version of kind of like it has a very Power Ranger type of vibe to Psycho Gorman. I think I enjoyed that being a kid who grew up, late '80s, early '90s was like my kid area, and that's when we got. I remember watching the very first episode of Power Rangers, laying in my grandma's floor at her house Saturday morning, and it was one of those big cabinet TVs that sit on the ground that weighed every bit of 300 pounds. That was like the TV was probably like maybe 30 inches, but it was the size of the wall and it was just heavy. Probably. It was just it had all three films. He said he probably the 3-pack he got from Walmart. I think I picked mine up at a one of those like bin stores that has like buys stuff from Amazon and or like gets the overstock from Amazon and sells it, or like the send backs and puts it on the shelves. They had some DVDs, so I grabbed it up and watched it. I had like I was in a transitional period in my life, and I had tons of DVDs. I just didn't have the space, and I was moving around, and I started selling off a lot of my because we used to have a local store called Cheap Thrills that would buy used DVDs, Blu-rays, CDs, and so I guess this is whenever CDs was still around. This was early 2000s. And I remember selling a bunch of that off. And Feast, my original Feast DVD was one of the things I sold off. Like whenever I found that 3-pack, I couldn't believe they made um, 2 other films. Like a lot of younger people nowadays, I sound like an old fogey. I'm in my 30s, but they don't realize how good they have it, as in finding these things online or knowing information. It used to be really hard to get a hold of information and news, especially in my area. We just weren't. We're in rural West Virginia. You don't get a lot of new things in stores. Um, but when I found that DVD that had all 3 in it, I was like, "Holy shit! I enjoyed Feast. It was a fun movie." And they made 2 more, and I watched them. And I was like, "What the fuck was that?" Kenneth said, uh, "Yeah, those TVs sucked. Those floor cabinet TVs were bad." I think we're gonna wrap it up, guys. It's been nice talking to you. We can even just if you want to schedule some chats, we can just I can hop on here and be like, "Hey, come talk to me." Someone has suggested that I watch. I mean, I do. I'm sorry, my voice sounds so rough right now. I did 2 videos earlier, and then I just feel like I've been talking a lot today. Uh, thank you, Johnny Horror. Yeah, listen, I'm gonna tell you. Go subscribe to Johnny. Go to Concrypt on Facebook. He is probably like one of the most supportive, nicest guys out there. Him, Josh was really supportive about me doing this by myself. Um, it does help with a co-host because it feels like dead air, uh, stuff like that. And I can cut off the ums and whenever I'm doing the video. So uh, the videos you watch on YouTube are probably my edited videos are probably a lot better than this. uh, Thanks, Kenneth. I appreciate it. I have seen Stay Alive. Like there is a lot of horror movies. I have. It's easier to go through a list you give me of movies I haven't seen than I have seen. Stay Alive is one of the movies I've went back to a few times. I need to show Chesley. I think it was like 3 years ago. Frankie Muniz was going to be in Morgantown, and I wanted to go and meet him just so I could get him to sign something from Stay Alive. So if you haven't seen Stay Alive, it is a early 2000s, and it shows because early 2000s had a tone to their movies. Dead Silence, 13 Ghosts, House on a Haunted Hill, House of Wax. There was just this film style that is in the early 2000s and has stayed there, and I'm kind of glad. There's just this like intro, this music style, like you're gonna hear a lot of Linkin Park's, that type of music in these movies, the early 2000s movies. But Stay Alive was one of them. About a cursed video game. You play it, you die in the game. You die in real life the same way you die in the game. Stuff like that. It's an alright movie too. We can do that movie. Uh, the thing that sucks is that it has only come out on DVD too. I don't know if I have it. It may be one of the movies I sold a long time ago, or it may have been a movie that the type of movies whenever you're like, I know a guy type, I can get that movie. Might be one of those movies I saw, but I've seen it a few times, and I have it on one of my wish list to grab. Yeah, Ghost Ship. I've seen Ghost Ship. It has one of the best intro, like it and the collection, because there's the collector and then the collection, and then the third one they've supposed to done a million times already, the collected, but Ghost Ship has a great intro, and then the collection has a great intro of deaths and stuff like that. You mean right there, Johnny? These two guys? Yeah, they're both the creeper. It's not off topic. Let me move my Rudy that came from the latest Zobi Fright Pack. But I have two creeps here. This one is signed by the man himself. Got a chance to work with him at Chiller Theater, Kevin Ball. He did a lot of the stunt stuff for the Creeper and the first Jeepers Creepers. Now, if you want to see a really nice, in-depth like talk with him about not only his stunt work but his charity work, the book he wrote and stuff, go check out Josh's video on that. It is just informative. It's a very good interview. Josh, like I said, he's a little bit he's better than I. He should have way more subscribers than I got. But he has a quote here on the side, and then I have the creep himself here that did all three movies. Now I had a chance to get this from Dark Parlor. Dark Parlor needs to do another horror mystery Funko. That's where this is from. Was basically they do the like I think it's like $90, and you're gonna get a mystery Funko. No, I switch those around. You got $90 and you get a good Funko and the autograph. And I think to me, $90 is a little steep, but it's not bad. What have I got from that? I got I do believe the Sweet Dreams, Linda Blair, Reagan, I got right here. From The Exorcist was one. The Creep was another, and I do believe the Texas Chainsaw up there I got from Jonathan Burke is the Creep. But thank you. Those are I'm getting really into Funkos. I need to send you that Danny Funko with the cat. Chesley said she didn't want her signed. She was like, no. She's like, if we have one in the house, it's fine. So I might send you just one Funko to get dual signed. I gotta see how money plays out and stuff like that. Oh no, I don't even consider that a movie, Eric. He says, try not to mention the shit show that was part 4. Burke was Jonathan wasn't the creep in that. They filmed it in like Latveria or someplace like that, and it was a horrible fucking movie. It was a bad movie, and it was Jeepers Creepers Reborn is what we're talking about. It was just a horrible fucking movie. It was bad. I can't say any worse things about it, honestly. They have a steelbook copy at Walmart. They're wanting $22 for, and they can go choke on a dick if they think I want to pay $22 for Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Well, speaking of you asking about the Funko and stuff, some I'm planning on. I haven't done it yet. It's in the works. There's a few video ideas I've had and I want to do. He's he asked if I could do like my top 5 favorite autographs, and I don't think he knew how many autographs I have. So the last calculation I had was Guts and Shivers is who asked, said, I should do the top 5. Super nice guy. Like, he started a YouTube channel and stuff like that. Go check it out. It's Guts and Shivers. Last time I checked, it was like a couple years ago. I have over, and this is not signatures on a single item because I have a few items that have multiple signatures. Just things that are signed over 200. So I have a lot. But so I think I'm going to do a few series of like my top 5 favorite signed Funko Pops. I have like over 50 to 60 some. Josh has got like 80 some. He's got me beat really bad. And then I'm going to do like a favorite 8x10s, favorite larger print, either like 11 by 17 or 11 by 14. We'll do top 5 of those, and then we'll do like a top 5 miscellaneous, like a top 5 signed figure slash poster slash prop. I think those will be fun. Those would be good little videos. One between the creep and you're gonna have to yeah, Jeepers Creepers Reborn was a waste of money. I was asking about the one between the Creeper and the Myers. I don't have any that's in between those. Oh, okay. This one right here. Uh, you're good. I need to read better and figure out where I'm at. Let me slide this out of the way. I have two that's in between the Creep and Myers. Um, I have had the absolute joy and great chance to meet Nev Campbell a few different times, but I have Bonnie from The Craft, signed by Nev Campbell. The first time I met her, I added her to the Scream poster. And I'm so glad I started that when I did because their prices went up. But it was my second year of ever going to Mad Monster. I think it was 2020. And I took a poster because it was Nev Campbell, Jamie Kennedy, Matthew Lillard, and Robert Jackson. I didn't add Robert Jackson. I didn't take a lot of money with me because it was like I said, I didn't do a lot of conventions starting out, and I didn't know like the pricing. He was wanting $60 for his signature, and I wish I would have got it then because he has never came back to a convention I've been at to be able to put him on the poster, and I want to, but I should have that day. But he was there. He was asking what I felt was too much for him to be a voice actor on screen when Nev and Matthew were asking the same amount for an autograph. I think Jamie was like $40 in a free photo. And I was like, hey, you want to get a photo? Do you mind? He's like, no. So he grabbed my phone. I'm going to tell you, Jamie Kennedy was having the time of his life. He seems like he's having the time of his life anywhere he goes. That year was one of the last years that we did it at a hotel where the tent was outside. They did the Q&As. They were casting images on top of the tent of the movie while they were doing the Q&A, and it was all of them up there. And he was just like, oh, oh. I mean, he was so happy to be there. But yeah, Bonnie from The Craft by Nev Campbell, and then we have Reagan from The Exorcist by Linda Blair. I was supposed to get a Linda Blair Funko autograph from a Razzie. That never happened. So if Josh ever watches this or pops in and hears me say that, then he knows exactly what I'm talking about. I'm still waiting on it and never got it. So, uh, like I said, thanks for stopping by. There's still 6 people watching. I'm shocked because we were almost an hour in, and I stopped talking about Feast like almost 30 minutes ago. I like to have these talks and just be able to chat and share stuff. Because some people don't want to go back and watch a bunch of my videos. If you do, it's appreciated. But and I started collecting before I started doing videos, so there's a lot of stuff I have that people have never seen that I've never done a video on because I just didn't do videos. Like I have a cloth Leatherface signed by R.A. Mihailoff. That was like one of the. I've got a few firsts that will stick with me. That like me getting into finding stuff to get autographed, and I was very lucky to find one of those cloth Leatherface from Part 3 at a decent price. I think it was like $30. Because then when I looked later on, they had went up in price. One of the first horror autographs I got, and that's going to be in my top 5 Funkos, is was the first year we went to Mad Monster, and the reason we went is Bruce Campbell was going to be there. Bruce Campbell was one of my top favorite actors. I've watched not only horror, such as your Evil Dead, your Bubba Hoteps, your I do what is it? It's Alien. Is it Alien Invasion or Alien something like that? My Name is Bruce. Just those fun movies. I love him as Sam Axe in Burn Notice. I just enjoy Bruce Campbell. Jack of all trades. You know, but we went there, and that was the thing I brought for him to sign was the Funko. And I said, "Can you put to Chuck?" He was like, "Yeah." Uh, my dad's name was Chuck. I was like, I said, "So I know I have a good name." He's like, "Yeah, you definitely do." So that was a very brief interaction I had with him. Sky, yeah, I've seen Sky High. Uh, Eric. Uh, yeah, it's Boomer in Sky High. See, I remember these things. I've seen a lot. Like I do a large intake of media all around. But like I said, I've already said I was going to end it already, but I am going to end it this time. Before you ask the question, I go on another tangent. But the the Bruce Campbell Funko means a lot to me because it was one of my very first horror autographs that I got, and it'll stick with me because it was like one of the first things me and Big John did together. That was me and him. Desiree came, but I felt like it was something we've done every year together, and it means a lot to me, and I'm very appreciative of him, um, and Desiree and Chesley of getting the money together so I can go to Mad Monster this year. Because I know videos have been very sparse and in between because of we are saving for a house and a wedding, and I feel like not a lot of people will want to hear just me talk like this and go on about some things I have without buying, mystery boxes or, um, just buying stuff to show off. So it's appreciated for all the people that do watch and stuff like that. And like I said, I'm very appreciative of them. I'm lucky to have them. Uh, so you guys have a good night. Thanks for everybody stopping by.